Hey everyone, Relic here, and we are back on the FTOG server, playing a little bit more Avant 3. And if you remember in the last episode, if you've seen that, we finally got round to setting up some blood magic. And we had the help of Grok and Link, and very grateful I am too. And we're going to continue with it this episode because I want to get the altar up to tier 4. Now, in between episodes, I got it up to tier 3. And it was pretty easy. All we had to do was... Todd Cam joined the game? All we had to do was get a load more of the blank runes, which is just a case of standing there and getting all of the slates by putting stone into the blood altar. But tier 4 is a little bit more tricky, so I thought we'd go through that together. So if we just get down there. Now, the first thing to note is I've made a few changes visually. So, yeah, just try to make it look a little bit better. I've used some of the stone brick path. And that is pretty easy, actually, to get. If we just go into this, I think it's just called stone brick path. We'll bring it up, hopefully. Yeah, this. So, yeah, all you need is you needed the tier 3 to get that, one of the orbs. So we've got the Magician's Orb, which is the tier 3 orb. And then any kind of stone. And I've used some glass in the corner. I'm not sure that's going to stay there. I thought it was a good idea at the time, but yeah, it will do for now. And then where we're going to have the tier 4. Yeah, I used some of the empowered Redstonia crystal blocks. And I used that just because I wanted it to feel a little bit alive, because this is kind of meant to be a blood altar after all. So yeah, I just kind of wanted that. I kind of liked that. And then we've got a bit more of the glass here. As I say, I'm not sure if the glass is going to stay. But, yeah. Anyway, so the other change that I've made, I put some sneaky blocks down here. So we could just drop down here if we ever need to do anything on this. The only trouble is I found that I do keep falling down it all the while. If I can get back up, that'll be an absolute miracle. So... we've already got all of the blank slates that we need. Now, I have automated this a little bit. And you probably remember Grok mentioning this in the last episode, actually, that if you got Ender IO pipes, then it's the best way forward. And I have discovered something that's quite useful, because I was trying to sort of figure out how to get this to feed one block in. And other than sort of going with the mechanical user, I haven't really thought of another way that might be able to do it, but it doesn't really matter. If I just show you, if you just grab out a couple of blocks, if we put this in here, it'll actually put both of the blocks in at the same time. If I put it in the right chest, it will anyway, this side. So it'll actually put both of the blocks in at the same time. And yeah, it will actually do its thing with those as well. So as long as you've got the right amount of blood in there, so obviously for this we need 2,000, and yeah, just double check, and that will actually sort of go through and it will do both of them. So if you've got a full altar with 10,000 LP in, then you can do 10 blocks at a time. Obviously you have got to fill it up again afterwards, but with the RF tools magic that we've got below, it's pretty easy. And yeah, it's just a little bit time consuming, that's all, but no big deal. So anyway, we've got all of the blank runes that we need in order to get this up to the next level. So all we need to do is, we've got the pick already, is just go around, take all of these out, and just get those out, bit of block lag, and pop those in. Okay, so that is the blank runes all the way around. And as I say, I am going to keep doing that all the while. I'm going to have to find a way of making sure I can't fall down there, ultimately. Maybe I'll just have, rather than having one on each 4 of the corners, maybe I'll just have one and, I don't know, put a trapdoor or something on top of it. But, yeah, I just kind of like the way it just sort of blends in, but I am falling foul of it. So anyway, while we've been doing that, this has finished. And as you can see, there's 2 blank slates in there, so pretty handy. So the next thing that we need in order to, or in fact, the only other thing that we need to get this up to tier 4, if you just come over here, is to replace these factory blocks that Link plays down for me with some of the blood bricks, I think they're called. Large blood bricks. Let's just have a look if I just put in blood brick with these, so the large bloodstone brick. And they're actually a little bit of a pain to get hold of, but you kind of expect that because we're moving into the higher tiers. I mean, to be fair, the tier 5 is going to be really, really easy for us because we've already got the beacons. All we need to do is just get the setup underneath that to activate them. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if we had to get those, getting the nether stars, and yeah, obviously without Non-Sanity's shop, that would be an absolute mission. But that's pretty much done for us. But yeah, the tier 4, we're gonna have to do a little bit of work towards that. Now, if I just go back into the recipe for it, the stone obviously easy, but these weak blood shards, what you need to do to get hold of those is you need to make yourself a bound sword, or sorry, it's called a bound blade in the latest version of Blood Magic. And then you need to go and hit mobs, like lots of mobs, in order to get them to drop the blood shards. And they'll only drop the blood shards, I believe, with the bound sword, and I think like a blaster or something like that. But yeah, the bound sword is the way that we are going to go. And in order to get that, we're going to need to do a few things. So first up, it's made in the Hellfire Forge. So if we just actually go in and get the recipe up, it's always easier to show you on screen rather than relying on my explanations. So we want the bound blade. So we need this binding regent, and that is made in the Hellfire Forge. And pretty simple stuff. And obviously a diamond sword with that as well. But in order to make it, we need a better Totaric gem than we've currently got. Now, the common one is actually 2 above what we've got. If you remember, we've got the petty one. And if we just look at the recipe, for the common, you basically need to put a lesser in with a diamond, an imbued slate, and a block of gold. And the imbued slate is just basically a slate put back into the blood altar, makes a reinforced slate, put back into the blood altar, makes an imbued slate. And we are also, if I can get back into the recipe, we are also going to need to make the lesser gem. And in order to make the lesser gem, we need these bits and pieces. And just to add a little bit of extra complication into things, we need to have some will in there as well. So we're going to need to head over to the mob tower with our sentient sword. And yeah, that is going to enable us. I've got to do something about that because otherwise I'm just going to keep falling down there. So yeah, I'll meet you in a minute. Okay, so we've got our sword. And I'm hoping it's that one anyway. I think, yeah, I'm fairly sure contains raw well. It might be the dagger of sacrifice. I don't know. We might have to try both, but let's try this one first. So we'll just grab some zombies, and hopefully we can get those. There we go. So let's just do a few hits and see. Obviously, we've got to kill them, so. And I think that'll do. So let's just. Oh no, we don't drop keepers down as well. Let's just back away for a minute. Right, so let's have a quick check. Yeah, and there we go. So we've started to fill that up, and we've got 5.19. So we need a total of 60 in order to do that, and it's going to use 20. So I'm going to kill a few more of these, and yeah, once I've done that, I'll meet you back at base. Okay, so a little while later, and I'm back. And I've actually went ahead and made the lesser gems because I kind of realised that it was pretty much the same process, that we needed to make 2 lesser gems in order to make the common gem. And we needed to go back and fill the lesser gem up again as well. I didn't really want to do another cut. So in order to make this common one then, what we need is the lesser gem that we've already got, plus the lesser gem with a minimum of 240 in, which I've got. a block of gold, a diamond, and then one of these imbued slates. And as I say, to get the imbued slate, all you do is take, not the blank slate, take one of the reinforced slates and drop that into here. Now, we just need to make sure, we've got the sigil on us, need to make sure the right amount is in there, which it isn't. So we just need to grab a little bit more blood. And I've already died a couple of times doing this, as was to be expected. So let's just double check that again. So yeah, we got the right amount in there. So now we can just drop that in there. That will now use all of the blood in there, and it will turn into an imbued slate, like so. So then we can just grab that back out again. So now we've got our imbued slate, and we just need a block of gold. So let's just grab that block of gold. We only need one, so we'll just put the rest straight back. And I'm already forgetting the rest of the stuff that we need for this. So we need one of the lesser gems. We'll put that in last, actually, just in case anything bad happens by putting it in now. We need the imbued slate. And I now can't remember what it was that we need in the other corner. Oh yeah, another diamond. So I know I've got some diamonds here. Actually begin to run out of diamonds now, because I think that is potentially the last of the diamonds. And then yeah, so we'll put that in there, and then that will now start to turn into our common gem. Now, I'm not sure whether or not we need any kind of power in there. So there's our common gem. Whether we need any power in there in order to make this binding region, but we'll soon find out. So let's just go back in, put in bound blade, and it's the second one along. We need this binding region, so we need glowstone, redstone, gunpowder, and a nugget, along with the common gem. And I don't think it needs a minimum of 400 will. Yeah, so I need to actually fill this up as well. So yeah, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I'm back, and yeah, I kind of wish that I had planned a little bit ahead, read a little bit ahead for this, because there has been a lot of time spent just sort of going over to the mob tower and sort of killing stuff to fill up gems, but then I don't suppose I'd have been able to show you the steps if I'd have done that. But yeah, so for this then we're going to need some redstone, some glowstone, some gunpowder, a nugget, and just remind myself the common gem. So we will pop that in there, and yeah, there we go. So that's going to use 400. Now I filled it up to about 800 just to try to think a little bit ahead, because I think we need it for the armor as well. So we're going to grab our arcane ashes and go back to the same spot we went before. Just pop that down like so, and then we need to pop this in here, and oh, that is different. I think that's bigger than it was before. And we need a diamond sword as well, so I think we're going to have to make one of those, but it should be simple enough if we went in through the right way, that is, of course. Like so. One diamond sword. What is that missing? Diamonds, of course. Right, hang on. Let's quickly make a stack of diamonds just so we've got some more of those. And then we should be able to make our sword like so. And then we'll put that in as well. And that goes in like so. And then I'm told for this one you need to stand back. Yeah, because you have the lightning effects. Now, I don't know if they actually do any damage to you, but I'm going to assume that it probably does. And just a few seconds. I've got to say, I really, really do love this animation. It's pretty cool. And is this going to explode or something? It's taking its time. There we go. So, excellent. I forgot I had my magnet on as well. So we've got our bound blade. And with that, we can now, you guessed it, go back to the mob tower. And we should be able to get ourselves, if I can stop doing that, we should be able to get ourselves some weak blood shards. Let's just pop up here and get ourselves over to the tower. Okay, so we're at the mob tower, and we just switched zombies on, and hopefully this should be a fairly quick process. So I've not done this before, and I know it doesn't do as much damage as the other sword, so just have to wait and see. But I think it's kind of like about a 1 in 6 chance or something along those lines. Now, I did check in the little storage core whether or not there was any in there before, and there wasn't. So if we just do a few of these, we'll see how many we can collect. If I turn that off now, and we'll just hit a few more of these. I tell you, the rate that these drop down is insane. And there we go. Right, let's have a quick look and see what we've got in there, whether we've collected any. And certainly not collected any in my own inventory. And yeah, we've not got any yet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go off camera for a while, and I'm going to hit a load more of these and just see if we can get some. So I'll be back in a minute. It took about 5 minutes in the end before I actually got one. So I don't know whether I was just unlucky, but I've got to say I didn't think they were that rare. But like I said, could just be luck. But we've got what we need, so we are going to head back over to the base. All we need to do is combine that up with a little bit of stone, and we should just be able to do it in here, I think. Yeah, and there we go. So there is our 16 blood bricks that we need. And now all we need to do is not remove the glowstone. That was the wrong one. And that was quite a silly move. Grab some glowstone, back out again, and actually turn that, so glowstone dust, turn that into glowstone, and pop that back on top again. Of course, it's this one that I need to get rid of, so we'll get rid of all of these bits. We'll put the blood bricks on top, and gotta say, I think now the blood bricks are in there, that is going to look a lot better with the empowered redstone as well. And last one. And now hopefully, if I've done everything right, yeah, that does look a lot better. If I've done everything right, then that should now be tier 4, which it is. Excellent. Now that's real progress, because I thought that that was potentially going to be a lot harder than that. So the final thing that I'm going to do today is what we sort of set out for with this whole thing. Now, we took this a little bit further potentially than it needed to be taken, but I want to get the Sentient Armour, and that's a little bit more messing around in order to do that. So we need to gather some items to put back into the Hellfire Forge, and we're actually going to walk around this way so I don't fall down that hole again. And we're going to need to grab a diamond chestplate first of all, so we'll do it through the correct route as always. And just grab one of those. We need a block of iron, which I'm fairly sure that I've got fairly handy. There we go, block of iron. We're going to need a block of obsidian. Now, I'm not sure. I think Link gave me some the other day. Yes, he did. So I've got some obsidian. I only want one piece of that. And then finally, we are going to need another lesser gem. And yeah, we've got one of those as well. So that is pretty cool. So we'll just throw all of that. And the one thing that I didn't check was how much, let's just say goodbye to Grok. The one thing that I didn't check was how much energy this needed, but it's still got quite a lot in there. So if we pop in all the bits, so the obsidian, the armor, the block of iron, and the lesser gem. I didn't want to go in there for a minute. And there we go. So that is filling up nicely. Now, what that's going to give us is the Sentient Armour gem, which is that. And this is a pretty cool thing. So I'm not going to make the mistake of falling down that hole, so we'll come over here. Now, if I just go into F5 mode, and if I click this, there we go. So that just changes over. Now, the really, really cool thing about this is if I take all this armor, off, it will still work without the armor being on. And finally, as long as I have the will in the gem, and so we've got the, I don't see how much it used, so it's got 44 there. So if I take that off and then put that back on again, we've got a full set, and I've still kept the 2 that I put up here. And yeah, it doesn't seem that it's using any will whatsoever. So that is going to be really, really handy for doing all of those armors over at the Great Hall. And that's where we're going to go now. Head over there and get that done and dusted. And I was a little bit, I've got to say, I was a little bit worried because occasionally there's resets on the server to get rid of sort of mobs and stuff. And for some reason, that also gets rid of armor stands. And obviously you lose any armor that's on there, which if you've got to make stuff all the while will be a bit of a pain. And freezing again. Yeah, which would be a little bit of a pain. And as a result, really laggy suddenly. As a result, having this armor that you can just basically create as much of it as you want kind of takes that worry away, because it, you know, if the worst does happen, then yeah, I can just come and do this again. The only thing that I would lose is the little bit of the Amori armor that I'm going to leave there. But let's just clear a little bit of space just so that we can get some of this stuff out and put our stone away. We don't need that. And put the blood bricks away for now. Glowstone, don't need that either. And I'm going to have to do something because this is, I don't know whether or not I need to restart the server or what at the moment. But anyway, we can put that away because I'm going to be using the, so I'm going to be using the Sentient Armour from now on, because it does look pretty cool. And yeah, that's about all I need. So let's take off the, I don't want to do that, that is for sure. Let's take that out again. So let's take off the helmet and the breast, the helmet. Take off the helmet, yeah, cool, we can. And then we'll grab this breastplate and the helmet and just throw those on and just see how that looks. Yeah, and that looks a whole lot better. As I said sort of originally, the reason why I did this is because it's kind of got eyes. And I think the living armor does as well, but I'm just not so keen on the colour of the living armor. Yeah, but as opposed to this where you can kind of see all the way through, you can only see it a little bit. You have to get sort of a certain angle to see it. So if you're just here and you're just kind of like walking through, then yeah, that looks pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead anyway, and I'm actually going to restart my game just so I can get rid of this lagginess. And I'm also going to put this armor all the way down, and yeah, we'll see how it looks when I've done that. So I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so a couple of minutes later, and that is that all the way down. And yeah, really pleased with that. I think it looks really good. It's definitely been worth the effort. Yeah, I've really enjoyed learning the blood magic as well. I say I've never really dabbled in it before, and it is a really good mod. So that's that. I'm gonna head back to the base. It's gonna be the last thing that I do today, and just for completeness, we'll get the tier 5 set up. So hopefully that loads in quickly, which it did. And let's just get inside. And all we're going to do is just add some blocks of iron or whatever underneath the beacons. So let's just make sure that this actually works. I think we take that, and that. And where's our iron? We've got plenty of it. And we'll just pop it down underneath here. So I think we've potentially Got enough to do, what, 2 of them, I think. That's fine, we've got loads of iron. So that's that one. And I think that's working. It's hard to tell because there's stuff at the top. You don't actually see. I think it kind of changes. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. But anyway, I'm going to get the rest of these done. And we'll see if it works. Okay, so all our iron's down. And I've grabbed a bunch of... I don't want to grab my handy bag. I've grabbed a bunch of the blank runes as well. So once we have put all this down, hopefully, fingers crossed, we've done everything right, and we'll have ourselves a tier 5 blood altar. Let's just take that one away. You kind of always knew that was going to happen. And let's get these down. That one in there, and the last row. I think I've done a little bit too many, but it's fine. I'm sure we'll use them again. And if you just pop back up here again without dropping down one of the holes. There we go. So, yep, tier 5. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. And, yeah, really, really pleased with the progress that we made today. So that's just in 2 episodes. We've managed to get ourselves from not having anything on blood magic at all to having a fully functioning tier 5 blood altar. And of course we've got the Sentient Armour as well, so we've managed to finish up the bits and pieces over in our other area. And obviously we've got the bound blade as well, which that was quite a mission to make that, but definitely required and definitely worthwhile. I wouldn't mind making some of the other bound stuff as well, because obviously once you've got access to the blood, I didn't check actually how much I think I've still got quite a bit in the... In fact, it doesn't seem to have touched it at all. So making the slates doesn't actually drain any of the blood from making the blank runes, because you have to put the orb in as part of the crafting recipe. It doesn't seem to have drained it at all. But the next thing I want to do in here, and I'm not going to do this in the next episode, because I kind of think that 2 episodes back to back is probably enough on blood magic for now. But I want to start getting some of the other runes in here as well. Now, just to show you what I mean, it's these runes up here. So speed runes, efficiency, etc. And you can put those around instead of where the blank runes are. You can replace those, and it does stuff like you can hold more blood in the altar, which would definitely be handy. Transformations happen a lot quicker as well. So yeah, I'm going to mess around with those a little bit, and they're not particularly difficult to make, and we've got all the tiers that we need for now until, as Grok mentioned, tier 6 becomes available. But yeah, I think in the next episode potentially we're going to get the bridge done across the river, because I've been meaning to do that for a while now. But that is going to be it for this episode. So I hope you've liked it. And if you have, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed already, then please think about doing that. It helps me out. And obviously you won't miss any videos. And as always, guys, take care. Thanks ever so much for watching. And I'll see you in the next episode.